Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Let's Get Real, an interactive talk show for dudes. I am your host. My name is Shark, or Michael Sharkey. I am joined by Spanish, a.k.a. Anthony. Hey, we got a call.
Oh.
I know, right?
Oh.
I know. I'm thinking it's a familiar voice. Jonathan, welcome to Let's Get Real. What's up, Jonathan?
It is a familiar voice. Shark Spanish. Love you guys.
Cool,
Love
man.
you, dude.
How are you doing, Jonathan?
I'm doing great, man. What you guys just talked about is pretty interesting and got me thinking about a couple things. One, Shark, your buddy Kevin, going through his divorce.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm going through a divorce and have had similar feelings as him. Like, I don't want people talking bad about my ex.
Right.
Like, I have great memories. I have great children. Like, I loved her for so long, and that doesn't go away, and so I have many good things to say about her. Just because she and I aren't together anymore, it doesn't mean that I need people to talk bad about her. And it's awkward when people do, and it splits up friend groups, and
Yep.
it's sort of weird, So for people to be like, "Oh yeah, that's how she was," whatever. Like, no, I don't need that, man. Like, she's still a good person. Like, I'm not going to talk bad about her, and definitely not going to talk bad about her to my kids. Like, she's a great mother,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely crosses the line of and it's funny, I ran into another friend of mine that went through a divorce a few years ago, and his, that was a bad divorce, but his wife was taught, would absolutely crush him to their kids. And I'm like, he was told me about this, and it was just a really, really bad situation. And now he's estranged from his kids, and his kids don't want to see him. And I'm like, man, like that, what kind of lesson is my friend trying to learn in life, where it's your kid, that just, it makes me freak out thinking about a person that would do that. But to the point of you and Kevin, it's like, no, I don't and the other interesting thing, and maybe you're experiencing this, Jonathan, is he shares with me all the ranges of things that are happening to him. So one is friends are like, dude, that bitch, blah, blah, blah. But then other people will have a conversation and they don't know what to say, so they just completely ignore it. There's a huge, they're just like, so what's going on? Any fun news lately, buddy? You know? So I don't know if you have friends like that, Jonathan, that are just they don't know what to say, so they just make it awkward.
Yeah, and the other thing is if I were to go bash her, what does that do for me?
Right.
That doesn't make me feel better. And that doesn't do anything positive. So why do that? I don't understand. And then the other thing is my daughter. So my kids are 18, 16, and 14, 2 boys, and then my daughter's 14. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I know a 14-year-old daughter is going through a lot, especially with a divorce. Oh,
yeah.
And I wouldn't want to call it acting out, but she's been doing things that are uncharacteristic for her. Mm-hmm. I work in Pasco County, and one of our deputies has been through a divorce, has daughters that are just a few years older. And I talked to him this morning in Spanish. It's interesting you mentioned the word stoic, because I talked to this deputy this morning, and he used the word stoic. And I was like, I want to be there to support my daughter through whatever she's going through. I don't know what goes on, outside of my house with her. I don't know what's being said. It doesn't matter, but I want to do whatever's best is for her. I want to make sure she knows she can come to me with anything. I want to be open. I'm not going to, condemn her for anything, but we still need to have, certain boundaries and rules and everything. And his recommendation was the stoic point, and just be that consistent parent that they know they're safe with. And that really resonated with me.
Yeah. I think that's, I'm sorry, Spanish, you go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say it's funny because when I talk to Shark about stoicism, I usually have a differing point of view, because in my opinion, there's a healthy version of stoicism, and then there's an unhealthy version of stoicism. The unhealthy version being you're so stoic, you don't feel anything, and then that just leaves a lot of unprocessed feelings. The stoicism that you're talking about, though, John, is that you're allowing yourself to process feelings. However, in front of your daughter, someone who needs you to be steady and consistent, that's where you display your stoic side. and she will learn that you're a safe place to, vent all of her feelings. And then, you do what most men do, which is cry in the shower, totally normal, away from everybody. And
I
then,
do.
same, bro. It's very normal. It's very normal. And, then when you're in front of your kids, you get to be like the guy that they see is holding it all together. And then as they get older and they have questions, then you could be like, oh, yeah, during that time, I was crying in the shower because I knew that you didn't need that from me. You needed someone who could be your rock, could be your guide in that dark time. And bro, I promise you, I don't even have kids, but I know will be the case. When they get older and they see that side of you emerge after all these years, they're going to have a whole new respect for you. And it'll be one of those profound realizations that they'll have about their parent where they go, damn, that was dad the whole time. And you'll be like, yeah, it was in fact dad the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I would say, and I like what you said a minute ago about stoicism, because I think there are people that take stoicism too far, and they are categorized as unfeeling.
Right.
But like, I don't know. I mean, maybe this is, penetrating how I show up every day. But like, and I've told you this, Spanish, every morning I read from my daily Stoic journal. And it's just fascinating. It's fascinating to think about that philosophy, which is just when you're truly Stoic, like you're talking about. And for Jonathan and his daughter, it's like you process things in real time. You don't let your emotions get the best of you. You're a rock. And I think, Jonathan, for you, that's the best thing you can be for your daughter right now. Because, you're not her. So how she's processing this divorce, it's probably something, I don't know, but like, it's hard to predict. Like, you don't know exactly what she's feeling. So the best thing you can do is show up and, have open conversations with her. And, my kids, we didn't go through divorce, but my kids say to me now at 24 and 22, how much they appreciated the fact that when they were 14 and 16 and that in that window of time, that they could just talk about anything. And we were like, okay, let's talk about it. Like, there was nothing off limits. And that open communication just kept our household, like, there was nothing off limits. So we could just talk, even if it was something that I didn't want to hear, that was okay. I'll be stoic in that moment and listen, but being a listener and being able to impress upon kids, especially going through a divorce, like, hey, anything you want to talk about, good or bad, I'm here. Let's go.
Yep, absolutely. So. I wanted to talk about, I know you're getting into the rentals conversation. I'll get to that in just 1 second.
Sure.
But Shark, I wanted to ask you a couple weeks ago, and then there were some good callers, so I didn't even call in. You were going through some sort of argument or issue with your wife, and if you don't want to talk about it, that's cool. But I'm curious how that worked out, like how you handled it, and if you have recommendations for how to handle things going forward for guys going through that.
I appreciate that. I think in that particular situation, it was a fight that just, in hindsight, what I believe to be true is that in that moment, my wife was triggered by something that wasn't me, and I took the brunt of it. Which I think that's part of being married, is that sometimes you just have to be the punching bag, even though you're not the one who has caused it. But in that particular situation, what set her off, another family member, just drudged up she just decided to air all the stuff that was like, wow, I thought we got past that like a decade ago. Guess not. And then later on, she was just like, hey, I just, I needed that. And, we're good now. But the thing that I don't know, takeaway is a weird way to put it, but something that I thought about from some of the things that she said in the heat of the moment, and even after she cooled down, was it's interesting how I always talk, especially on this show, I just said it a minute ago, like the importance of communication and the importance of talking. And I observed in myself how I don't always clearly communicate with her. And I don't know if it's just like an old version of myself, or, we've been together for 30 years. So it's natural that like older versions of ourselves kind of rear their head and pop up. But when she called me out on things, and one of the things she did, which was wild, is she was like, if you got a caller on the radio, you'd ask them questions, but you're not asking me questions. You're just being silent. And I was like, oh, okay, hold on now. Don't pull the radio show into this. But she was very, but in some ways I needed to hear that. So like this week, she's out of town this week, but there's been a couple of instances where I'm like, hey, I needed to, life stuff, had to pay taxes, stuff like that, stuff that I don't really want to talk about, but it's like, hey, kind of need to talk about a couple things. So I'm going to clearly communicate these things in a fashion that, I'm trying, like I'm doing my best to be better, because I'm always trying to be a little bit better, but clearly communicating was something that something that I needed to hear. And I just, try to take in those situations where you get into a fight where it's like, okay, what am I supposed to take away from this? Even though it was a fight that was triggered by somebody else and I took the brunt of it, what do I need to take away? What do I need to learn, and how can I be better from it?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Going back to divorce stuff, like it's a bigger issue. I don't think we as humans ever get anything out of talking bad about other people, like dragging them through the mud. Like it might make you feel better for a moment, but that's never better in the long run,
No, and it only reveals
not.
It only reveals like the trash that you're holding on to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you talk bad about somebody, all you're doing is showing whoever you're talking to where you're the most hurt and where you feel the most exposed. And like that is the opposite of stoicism. That is just like airing your dirty laundry and then showing everybody these are my childhood wounds that I never processed.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.